We are pleased to be here with you today. There are many different things that we have to speak of, different facets of your reality that are in a time of transition and change on the planet. Each of you is awakening to new levels of consciousness that are subtle developments on the previous realities that you've experienced. There are subtle disturbances or dysfunctions in your way of reality and perceiving life that are forcing you to grow and change and rapidly evolve. Sometimes it can feel that things are falling apart, or there's confusion or struggle and not enough clarity around the path to take going forward. But we would urge you to question and reevaluate, wanting you to know that sometimes not knowing the path to take going forward is actually the highest and easiest way to find your true root. You have to be your true root forward. You have to be in the watery space of the womb, in the unknown, when you're birthing unmanifest creation, such that you're able to bring greater creations into form. There's a stage of gestation and incubation where you're consciously working on growing those aspects of your life that you want to bring to light in greater ways. There's many different timetables for possibilities of creating your reality, and we would never want you to push yourselves or feel a certain pressure to bring about a certain attribute or creation into form more readily than is appropriate or comfortable. We recognize that there are certain mental challenges and limitations that have to be hit up against and transformed in order for you to change and shift your lives, and that there's a period of time where, as you're trying to grow, you begin to realize all of the old frameworks, the ways of being and thinking about your reality that no longer serve and benefit the new creation that you're trying to bring forth into the world. There's a time of dissolving these old thought forms and patterns and ways of creating reality, and this process of dissolution is required and necessary before you can fully bring forth your work and your creations to the world. There's no need to rush the process, because your desired growth and birth can't take place until the old barriers and mental limitations and perceptions have shifted to make way. It's like opening and preparing the birth canal for the child to come through. And there are many different ideas that you have about what you could create or intend to create in your current reality. And we recognize that not every one of those ideas will necessarily come to fruition. But sometimes it's important to plant many different seeds, recognizing that the time might be right for some plants to sprout and grow into full trees, while others don't complete the same journey of growth. And at the time of seed plantation, sometimes it's difficult to tell which seeds will take and which seeds will not. And we recognize that your nurturing and your care and your guidance are vast and appropriate and worthwhile for all of your creations, and that over time it will become revealed which ones will bear fruit on a tree and which other ones can be left to be recycled with the earth, whose energy can dissolve to serve greater things. We recognize that there are many different supporters and adversaries and peers and comrades that may have say and input and project certain ideas and realities into your mind and consciousness. And we recognize that what's more important is your own intuitive guidance and knowing. We don't want you to allow yourself to get sidetracked by someone's mental injection into your reality. We recognize that it's very easy for a spouse to lay claim to a certain segment of your work or your life and a particular perception that your spouse may have, and that this person's limited conceptions and barriers can thus limit you simply by being in their presence. And we want you to consciously recognize that there's no need for you to take on the limiting beliefs and thought patterns of a partner, but rather there's many ways that you can begin to work with your own inner creative energy, proving your partners, your spouses, inadequate in their appraisal of the life force energy of the cosmos, recognizing that you are the feminine divinity incarnate, and you have many different realms and ways that you manifest and create. And sometimes following an intuitive inkling, an idea that leads to greater things, whether it's the small next step to take going forward, a meeting that you need to attend, a certain place that you need to be at a particular time. We're guiding you to always follow the hunches and inner wisdom, knowing that the path that's being created before you can't possibly be perceived and comprehended of from your current location, your current place of comprehension, that the cosmos, the universe, has larger destinies and plans in mind for creation that you couldn't possibly conceive of, and we're asking you to open to allow divine guidance and help and synchronicity to guide your path, and simply rather going it alone and forcing creation to be in certain ways and time frames that you deem acceptable in your mind, your mental perception. We want you to begin to flow more seamlessly with the energy of creation, with the divine feminine energy of the earth and the water and the air and the sky, allowing yourself to create the way that nature creates over cycles of time, allowing things to be destroyed to make way for future creation, allowing yourself to bask in the glory of what you currently have, knowing that it will also eventually pass, and knowing that appreciating the sweetness of today is just as important as looking to tomorrow and the benefits that you'll reap, the harvest that you'll reap then. We want you to open to many different conceptions of what's possible for you in this incarnation. We recognize that each of you has been given certain barriers or limitations of thought in your perceptive mind regarding your capacities for the life that is possible for you to embody. And we want you to know that each of you has the divine capacity to create many worlds and realities that are far different from the ones you live today. That there's no need for you to feel so stuck in a regimented culture and structure just because this is the way it's been for so many years and this is the stability that's been built. We recognize that there's always the opportunity for change and adventure, even in small ways, if it isn't always, even if it isn't always perceptible to you at the current time. We want you to begin to open to the free-flowing energy and current of life, such that it'll take you to new experiences, put you in connection with different people that can drastically shift your destiny path and your time stream. We recognize that it only takes the influence of of one individual and one experience to drastically shift the path of an incarnation. So we want you to remain open and subtle to the different energies that are at play and that you are experiencing, not allowing yourself to get sidelined and stuck in a particular routine or way of being, continuing to open yourself to new places and new people for the expansion of your consciousness and your happiness on this planet in this incarnation. We want you to know that upon passing out of this lifetime, during the review of your lifetime, there'll be moments where you look back and question why you held yourself to such rigid, exacting standards, because things just were the way they were. And you'll realize how much freedom you truly had, even if you didn't experience it during your incarnation. So we're trying to guide you at this point in time to open to that ability for transformation and freedom, which you completely and totally have. It's only blocked by your limited barriers of perception. We want you to begin to open to see past the horizon of this current incarnation, to begin to see yourself from a higher perspective of the soul, of your higher destiny and purpose and intention in this incarnation, so that you can begin to operate from a place of higher knowing and faith and trust, not fully stuck in the roles that you've been expected to play as a mother, a wife, in a particular job or profession. We want you to begin to see yourself as the expansive energy of the cosmos that each of you embodies in divine human physical form, knowing that you are completely connected, interconnected, and interpenetrated with every other life being in the cosmos, that there's no true separation or boundary in the energy from individual to individual, person to person. It's only a perceptive and experiential boundary that you're currently incarnated to experience. We want you to begin to recognize different levels of your perceptive ability so that you can bring different states of meditative awareness to your daily activities and engage with people in your day-to-day life in such a way that you offer them respect for their highest divinity and your highest divinity, recognizing the truth that is embodied in you is also embodied in them, and that any seeming discordance or disagreements can be easily wiped clean or perceived from a different perspective by allowing yourself to perceive yourself from your perspective, a higher perspective, and the other person's perspective, recognizing the golden chain of energy flowing through all things, and that there's no true separation or boundary. The perceptive mind has a way of creating barriers that allow you to function as an individual in this lifetime. And we want you to know that the way of experiencing happiness and joy in this incarnation is to begin to dissolve those barriers and conceptions of being an individual. We want you to recognize that the happiness and joy that you can cause another impacts and creates happiness within yourself because of the divine interconnection of all things, even if it isn't immediately perceived. We want you to begin to allow yourself to open the heart space and the heart chakra, beginning to dissolve the inner barriers and restrictions in the heart ethers, letting go of remaining darkness so that you can open yourself to a larger expansive reality, knowing the full possibility of being hurt, but allowing yourself to open regardless. allowing yourself to dissolve the old patterns and boundaries that have kept you stuck in a particular way of being, keeping you safe and protected from opening again. We recognize that many atrocities in past lifetimes in your current incarnation have allowed you to develop particular beliefs about what it means to be in a certain place in society or a certain role, and how you are meant to function in order to keep yourself safe and out of harm's way. And we want to begin to dissolve those boundaries and belief systems within you, recognizing that there's always time for a shift in perspective, especially if it will bring you to a place of higher consciousness and experiencing more joy, compassion, and divinity in your day-to-day life. We want you to allow yourselves to flow with the natural order of time and energy in nature, recognizing that as the seasons change, your lifestyle changes, and that there's no need to struggle against this natural pattern, but rather by working with this energy in harmony, you don't need to experience so much frustration, but can rather be in a space of joy, always appreciating what is in the present moment and experience. We want you to begin to work with situations and opportunities not from a place of frustration or anger, wishing that things were different from what they were and pushing against them in a harsh and a destructive and angry way, but rather allowing yourself to shift your energy current, recognizing that your response of frustration or anger isn't necessarily going to help or change the situation, but rather we would recommend that the perspective within yourself and your own mental conception is what you have the power to change within any given occurrence. And by changing your reaction to a particular outcome or situation, you can completely free your energy that's been trapped in the lower chakras, allowing them to rise higher into your higher consciousness, giving you an experience of divinity and freeing your energy to be focused towards those things that you desire to create, putting you more into the direct flow with all of life and divinity. We recognize that every time you waste and trap your energy by experiencing these lower vibrational emotions of frustration and anger, you are consciously stepping out of the flow, the higher order of life and being and divinity, and that you can begin to gradually work with this energy and shift your own tendencies so that you can dissolve these old emotional patterns and begin to stay in the higher vibrational essence of love and joy and peace and compassion, that there's no real need for you to dip into these lower vibrational states. Always having peace and compassion and equanimity for yourself when you do lapse into a different state of consciousness, knowing that it's far easier to get yourself out of it rather than becoming frustrated for feeling a particular way again. Allowing yourself to rely on your tools of higher consciousness, your meditation, your singing, your yoga, your exercise, your art forms, all of the different ways that you bring joy to your life and come back to a state of flow and oneness with all of divinity and creation. There are so many simple ways, such as through the breath, that you can easily remind yourself to come back in touch with your truth and inner essence at the divine core of your being, rather than allowing yourself to stay stuck in a certain negative vibrational pattern that can impact your entire incarnation. So one simple shift in a particular belief system and structure can rewrite an entire story in the holographic reality, such that you no longer need to continue to relive and replay a particular pattern and belief system. One simple shift and dropping of an old way of being can completely rewrite and reorient your experience on the earth plane. And that is what we are encouraging you to do, reminding you that you have the power to do, to completely shift and rewrite and restructure the holographic universe that you experience day to day.